back to The Issue here on Kojiko TV, live Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. And my co-host tonight is Deb Timstra.
Thank you, Mark. Yes,
You're very welcome.
And we are now joined by Anna. And Anna, I'm sorry, I don't even know your last name.
Sade.
Sade, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And you are a mentor with the GLOW program, which we'll talk about, and also the Go Girls program. So again, those are programs that have been developed by Big Brothers Big Sisters, and they are very active in our local schools. Before we get into that, though, I'd like to hear you two talk. You are about to go into high school. You are about to leave high school. And I want to know what high school life is like. We have a very diverse culture in high school now. We have a lot of things, a lot of different learning techniques, a lot of languages, a lot of different environments now than obviously when we were in school. Describe what school is.
How is it different?
How is it different?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Social media is a very big part of school right now. And that's actually it's a learning tool now, which we didn't have. You and I had books and pens and paper and,
And the ability to discuss.
Yeah.
They've still got that ability.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But it's Google now, so
it's totally different.
So instead of going to the Encyclopedia Britannica and looking something up in the library, you can just Google it.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's a faster pace.
It's more efficient, but the thing is, it gets annoying sometimes because school Wi-Fi is terrible. And it's terrible. And sometimes it just won't work. And if we're working on a doc, you guys know what a doc is, right?
Yeah.
A document.
Google Doc. So, if we're working on it, the Wi-Fi will mess up and it'll say you're reconnecting, and it's like, oh my gosh! And you're in the middle of writing a speech, and it's due in 2 days, which is usually what happens to me, and you have to finish it, and you're only on say the third paragraph. It takes a while for it to reload.
Yeah. Yeah, but I had difficulties, learning the library system and so on. So they got challenges. We had challenges. It's no different. Yeah, they've got electronic social media. Well, we used to write notes to each other. So I don't see what they're facing that is any different from what your parents or we faced. Why don't you tell me what the biggest issue is you're faced with daily? And I'll put the question to Sammy first, then to Mehdi, and let's see if they correspond with the issues that Deb used to have.
So the biggest issue I would assume is with this all new technology and the internet, we are overflowing with data and information that we, even the ones that we don't need, and then some of the more inaccurate ones. Also, for example, if I search a topic about a certain equation in physics, there'd be a lot of searches that would come up that I can check on, but only a few of them will be very accurate, and most of them
legitimate ones.
Yeah, legitimate ones, and some just people that do not have any professional knowledge or experience would try to explain it, and then one of those incredible sources appear, and those get very annoying. And I think that's what school is trying to teach the students,
how to filter out the fake information.
Yes.
I'm just using terms that President south of the border is using. Only he's using it in terms of news.
Yes.
But fake information as opposed to legitimate information. Okay. How about you, Mehdi?
I'd say technology, because a lot of people these days, they have cell phones, and then they have social media, and then I personally, I don't have a cell phone, and the only type of social media I have, I'm not even sure if it could be considered social media, but I have an email, which is one of the I use that to stay in touch with friends and things like that. But then there's people, they have things like Instagram, and then they have Snapchat, and they're always on it. Like, I remember last year, a couple of times people were on it in class, and they'd be sending things to each other while we were supposed to be doing work. And then it also gives them another thing to talk about. Like, they can talk about what people posted, and then they can gossip about it, and then it also can lead to bullying, because some people make fake accounts that are like, well, an account, it's not necessarily, I don't know how to explain it, but they call it a fake account. Right?
That's interesting that you should mention bullying, because we've got a caller on the line, and that's the subject that the caller wants to bring up. So, Joey, can you put the caller on air? Hello.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you so much for calling in. Did you have a comment or a question for us?
I have a comment and I have a question.
Okay.
My comment is, it's wonderful to see you sitting, discussing and consulting their own situations to resolve their issues, and I think youth can resolve their own issues themselves much better. And also, I have a question. I worked at Jane and Finch area for a long time with youth, and I knew one of the very important problems they had was the situation with bullying. I'm wondering, what would these youth say about bullying and how to prevent it and how to deal with it?
Okay, I think that's a very important question. Who wants to handle that first? Okay, Sammy?
So from personal experience, I was born in Korea, so I went to elementary school in South Korea, and I did personally experience bullying myself, and yeah, it wasn't fun at all. And so I think, so for the victim to try to get out of it, it is very difficult, but I guess the number one thing is try to be resilient and try to state clearly as to the bullies and to the audience that you don't feel comfortable with this, you don't like this at all. And then bullying happens because people ignore this. So the second way is
all people
Yes.
have a tendency to ignore bullying.
Yes, they do.
Okay,
So-
Mehdi, what have you experienced it, or have you participated in bullying?
Well, I've seen it happen. I think maybe a bit last year I might have experienced it, but I noticed that usually if there's no crowd, the bully won't do anything. The person won't really do anything because they feed off the crowd laughing at, say if they're making a joke or something, they'll feed off the crowd and stuff, and they'll just keep going and the crowd will be laughing.
That's very
Yeah.
insightful,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
insightful.
it's-
But getting back to the question that I had for you, Deb, that's no different than what I grew up in Rexdale.
Okay.
So bullying.
And actually, so did I. So, and yes, it did exist. However, I think now there are so many different varieties of bullying. Some we see and some we don't. And Anna, you are involved in two programs that are very much about self-esteem, and they do encompass the whole bullying issue. So, from your perspective as a mentor, can you speak to this?
Well, specifically, I work with girls, so I've noticed that with girls, they do like to gossip, and they start rumors. There's always problems with boys, and there's always questions about that. And I have found that I think that there's a big difference between boys and girls when it comes to bullying, because boys are a little bit more, they'll just kind of get into a fight, kind of fist fight or whatever, and just, it's over with, right? Whereas girls, they go and start, fake accounts, and they really start to try to manipulate their victim and bully them, using cyberspace, and that's what I think is the difference between your generation and ours, which is that anonymous kind of factor where, you know, some of the older generations didn't have to deal with.
Right.
So.
So, and it's affecting everything. It affects their home life, their school life, their social life, their dating life, their relationships, because you don't know, especially if it's fake accounts and so on and so forth. You don't know who that person is. You could be, you know, we could be having this conversation, and one of us could be that bully, and neither one of us would actually know. So, it's actually. There's a lot of words to be said for that. But when you're speaking with your groups, when you're working with your groups, when you're, you know, conversing with the groups, what's the biggest fear?
I feel that the biggest fear is self-esteem issues, because there's so much things on Instagram and social media. There's so much imagery out there that's kind of this unrealistic standard that these girls think that they have to uphold in their life, and they look at these pictures and they kind of want to be these girls on Instagram and have these particular photos, and you know, and if they don't achieve that, then they're kind of looked down upon, like, oh, you're not cool enough, you know,
Right.
you don't have that many followers, like brush you off, kind of. So I think that really hurts their self-esteem. So that's like a big fear is girls. Particular, because I just deal with the girls, right?
Right. So as a mentor, what can you do to encourage some of their, you know, to encourage their self-esteem to grow? Because that too would apply to our boys.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is just following your own interests and passions in life, and you will eventually find friends that are interested in the same things that you are interested in, and it's okay to be alone and like a loner for a little bit of time if you don't, you know, even if you let a group of friends go that just don't kind of see the world that you see, it's okay. We'll eventually find someone that kind of sees eye to eye. So I think, yeah, that's one of the biggest things, is just, and also just to keep accounts private. I think that's big issue. So a lot of these girls have their accounts public, and anyone can find information about them, and I think that's like one of the biggest issues that I find with the girls, that they're not keeping their accounts private. So if there's anything you can put out there, it's just
to
keep it private, you
keep
know,
it private,
and
that's-
among, you know, school friends and whatnot.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break right now, and we'll come back and get more in depth in this. And Deb, in the second half of the show, maybe you can try and convince me that the issues that Anna and Sammy and Mehdi were talking about are that much different from the issues that you and I faced when we were in school. But that's in the second half, and we'll be right back here on Kojiko TV, The Issue. I'm Mark Carr. Thank goodness we're out of that break. This is The Issue here on Kojiko TV. My co-host Deb Timstra, and we were having quite the conversation, and I think you're getting these people to gang up on me and bully me a little bit about what I was saying.
Giving you a little of your own medicine, is that true? Okay, listen, Mark, here's the thing.
Okay.
Things are different, and the reason that they're
I
different.
agree that they're different.
Well,
But I'm saying the underlying issues are not that much different.
I said that the issues are different. I didn't say that they weren't the same issues. I said the issues are different.
Okay.
And the issues are different because when you're talking about bullying, you are talking about a variety of ways. It's not the let's go pick on Mark because he's wearing this funny burgundy
Earpiece.
tie today. Let's beat him up and tie him to a tree, and then we'll all throw soap bubbles at him or whatever. I don't know. But whatever. It's not that. It's the what people are doing to undermine people at all levels. It's not just the physical stuff, it's the mental stuff that is really, really impacting it. But also what's impacting it is the ability for the people who are the support people around our youth today to be able to react to those things. So, you know, one person's dad can't go to talk to another person's dad these days, or a teacher can't, you know, get between kids like they used to. That environment is completely different. The support systems are challenged to help our young people now. And so what I love about what's happening in our schools with these programs is that we're having mentors like Sammy and like Anna and fabulous examples like Medi, who are standing up and saying, you know what, this is wrong, and I'm going to help you make it through, because these are the people who can actually have an effect and encourage people to be their best selves, where our parents can say that at home, but as soon as, or their parents can say it at home, but as soon as they get back into that environment, all of those threats and all of those things that are undermining their self-confidence are very, very evident. Would I be right or wrong or different, or speak up?
I think that it's important to have that circle of support in your life and to go back to your circle of support. And that's what we teach in Go Girls and Glow, that we create this circle and you're in the center, and then around is your friends and family, and then around that is your mentors, and then around that is your community helpers. And we tell each girl to list at least 1 or 2 names, and if there's anything ever going on in life, to go back to that circle of support, because there are so many people that are suffering in silence because they don't have anyone to talk to, and they don't think that there's anyone that's been through there, and they think that they're dealing with it alone. But there are many, many people out there that are going through the same situations and issues in their life, and so yeah, it's important to have that circle of support.
Yeah. And I think the home environment is not necessarily and no offense to any home environment, because I'm as anyone will tell you, I am probably one of the strongest proponents of family, but family dynamics are very different these days, and the way that we communicate with our children is very different these days. So sometimes it's very difficult to fully understand and fully be engaged in what's happening and offer that support to our young people. And so they have to rely on different methods, whether it's social media or whether it's each other or whether it's mentors in the community. And to be very honest with you, Mark, you and I both know that a lot of the families that we grew up with, you know, they were disciplined in different ways, and some of that bullying is from their own environment.
Yeah,
So-
I agree. I agree. There's nothing that you said that I disagree with.
Well, I'm so glad about that.
However, during the break, there was a lot of disagreement from these 2 gentlemen directed towards me. Why do you think that you're any different than the previous generation?
So, like, to take on bullying subject again, so because we have phones and we have cameras everywhere, it is very easy to take a photo of someone doing like a weird photo that can be stupid things, or that things that can be interpreted in multiple and uncomfortable ways. Then there's also Photoshops that you can actually change how a image looks, or add in different images, so make it a fake information.
Oh, fake information.
Yes,
Fake
like
news.
completely fake.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very easy to grab a piece of evidence or piece of information that could pretty much endanger someone's future life. Because once you post it on the internet, it stays on there forever. You can't erase it.
Okay, Medi, how about you? Why were you so vocal during the break and against what I had said? What makes your generation so unique from your parents' generation?
Well, one thing that makes it more unique is you guys didn't have cell phones, which didn't have texting on them, Now people have cell phones, they have texting, and there's group chats, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like you can put people in a group chat. What some people do is they talk about other people in the group chat, right? And then sometimes you don't even know who is saying it, but there's like a lot of people in a group chat and they talk about somebody else, they gossip about people, they spread rumors, they say, like, a big thing that happens is they say this person likes this person, and then they say like weird things about them, and they pretty much ruin their whole relationship with, say, even that person. Like if they don't even like if they're just friends with the person, it'll ruin their relationship with that person because they'll hear about that first. Because like if you say something, it's the next day everybody knows pretty much.
But
right?
But
like
what's any different from a group of males or females in a schoolyard talking about somebody else and their relationships and making fun of it, which not using a cell phone. I'm having trouble
thing
understanding why one is much different than the other.
on the cell phone, we talked about fake accounts earlier, right?
Yeah.
You have no idea who owns the account.
Yeah.
So honestly, the person does it in secret. So it's actually it's actually sort of cowardly.
Cowardly, yeah.
Because they're hiding behind the mask, which is like a screen, and then like say they could be like maybe like a friend or a close friend, and then they'll be doing this like on their spare time, like just spreading rumors about you, and taking.
It's very far-reaching, right?
Yes.
It's beyond that schoolyard. It goes beyond the schoolyard.
Like it's literally 24 hours a day. They can do it.
Mark, you're one of the best social media people I know. You love to put stuff out there. You love to, offer opinions. You love to tell people about things that are going on. And can you imagine the damage that you could do if you just twisted some of the words? And unfortunately, in people who are in our younger generation, they don't really comprehend what the long-term impact of all of these types of bullying and misrepresentation are doing. And
No, I agree with you. They don't understand what they're doing, but I don't think it's much different from the previous generation with that group of individuals talking about somebody else and their relationship. I see this as broader because the technology allows it to be broad, but I think the effects are very similar. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Anna?
Well, I think that in whenever, you could talk to a teacher. You could say, I know this or this person is saying this about me. Whereas when it's on the internet, it's anonymous. So you don't know. So how do you even solve a problem and it's anonymous? You don't know who that person is. So I think that's a big issue.
Okay. And that's fair enough. The anonymity of it. I'd like to kind of just switch topics just a little bit. You said, Sammy, that the big issue is looking to the future. Tell me about the future and what you see, not necessarily for yourself, but in general in society with all of this and other technology that you are going to help create.
Going to create in the future?
Yeah, just tell me what you see as the future for society in general.
As the future?
What do you think kids in the next generation after you are going to experience?
Going to experience, so...
Wow, that's a hard
It's a
question.
good question.
That is a very hard question, to be honest. So,
Okay, well, I'll let you think about that for a little bit. Mehdi, what do you think? Same question. Do you think people behind you are going to experience the same sort of things that you experience, or how's it going to be different?
It's going to be different because someone in our generation is going to invent something else that's like as broad as like say the iPhone or something like that, and then invent more types of social media, like something totally different than social media, but it causes an effect that we couldn't even think of right now. Right? So it's really hard to think of how it is, but like when you were a kid, did you think that now everybody would have these types of cell phones and things like
yes,
that?
Oh, no, he's lying. He's totally lying to you.
No.
He's pulling your leg.
no, you're right. I didn't. But okay, so looking to the next generation, it's a little bit fuzzy about what they're going to experience. How about for you guys in that near future? Are you thinking about that an awful lot? Do you not think about it and think about it periodically? I mean, what takes over your mind just before you drop off to sleep?
What takes on my mind before I just drop off
The
my
exam
sleep?
tomorrow.
Yes, definitely that.
2 exams he's got,
Yes,
so
yes.
we got to make sure he's home in time.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I guess like as weird as it sounds, people with the technology, they tend to search random subjects that they don't even know about. They just randomly click on maybe like a YouTube video on the internet, like just a random one. They haven't even thought about it. They haven't even read the title of it. They just thought it was an interesting thing, and they just click on it. And you might find it interesting, or you might not like it. So
Okay, Sammy, unfortunately, we're going to have to take a break. I'm getting Joey in my ear telling me to take a break. So we'll be right back and talk to these 2 gentlemen and Anna a little bit more right after these messages. I'm Mark Carr for The Issue.